It started in 1994. A business plan was written on a cross-country road trip from New York City to Seattle, and Jeff Bezos was selling his first book online from his garage with 2 other people, starting the empire that would become Amazon. In this video, we take a look at Amazon in 1994. We also look at what was happening in the tech industry in the lead up to Amazon's creation. We then fast forward to 1997 when Amazon was first listed on the stock market, and how that made Jeff Bezos a billionaire. What was Jeff Bezos doing before he started Amazon? Bezos originally attended Princeton for a physics degree. He then switched his major to computer science. He told himself that he would one day start and run his own business. In his senior year at college, he joined a startup called Fitel, who were attempting to build a worldwide telecommunications network for financial trading firms. His role at Fitel was to debug spaghetti code. His success at this led to his promotion to head of development and director of customer service. Bezos spent 2 years working at Fitel, but he became frustrated by the startup's growth. He left the company and got a job at Bankers Trust, which is now part of Deutsche Bank. As a product manager, he sold software tools to the company's pension fund clients. Looking for a job in a technology company, Bezos was headhunted by D.E. Shaw, a 2.5-year-old financial hedge fund. As part of his role, Bezos was in charge of exploring new business opportunities in the age of the developing internet. It was through this research that the idea for Amazon was first born. Jeff Bezos became intrigued by the idea that the internet would soon be growing at a rate of 2,300% annually. Bezos began exploring the unfamiliar territory of electronic commerce, and soon discovered that books would be the most logical thing to sell on the internet. Bezos felt that books were a good way into online retailing, as there is a universal demand for books and they are inexpensive to buy and ship. Bezos approached his company with the opportunity, but they weren't ready to make books a priority. Rejected, Bezos decided to leave Wall Street and start his own business. Let's take a look at what else was happening in the tech world at the time of Amazon's birth. In early 1991, Congress passed the Gore Bill, which put $600 million towards computing advancement and education. January of 1994, Nokia released 2 mobile phones that could display SMS messages. In the same month, Yahoo debuted as an online directory for its founders' favorite websites. In May of the same year, the first World Wide Web conference was held in Geneva. Here, 380 web pioneers discussed the future of the internet. The first online encrypted transaction took place in August of the same year in 1994 on a site called NetMarket. This online store used PGP to make online transactions anonymous and untraceable without the proper key. At this point, encryption software had not yet been regulated by the government, so it had yet to become fully integrated on the web. In September of 1994, Jeff Bezos registered his online bookstore. Having left his job at Wall Street in mid-1994, Bezos and his wife left New York City and road tripped to Seattle. They headed to Seattle because it had a high number of technology workers. Jeff Bezos spent much of the road trip writing a business plan. Bezos invested $10,000 of his own money into forming the startup. At the same time, his parents invested a large fraction of their life savings, an estimated $250,000, into Bezos's dream. Bezos warned his parents that they were very likely to lose their entire investment in the company, as he believed that there was only a 30% chance of him building a successful company. Once in Seattle, Bezos rented a house and started building Amazon out of his garage. The name for the company wasn't Amazon. This name only came in 1995. Known first as Cadabra Inc., Bezos intended to reference the word abracadabra. He wanted to show the magic of an online retailer. But this name was short-lived, as Bezos was quickly told that it sounded like cadaver on the phone. The name Relentless was toyed with, and eventually Bezos registered it as a domain name. While Bezos' company is not known as Relentless today, if you type in relentless.com, you will be redirected to the Amazon website. It wasn't until a couple of months later that the name Amazon was registered. The name was chosen because of the largest river in the world, which can be seen in the company's original logo. Bezos had hoped that Amazon would one day be an endless e-commerce marketplace. Also, back in the day, websites were listed alphabetically. Amazon's first employee was Shel Caffin, who was responsible for building Amazon's technical infrastructure. He, along with contractor Paul Barton Davis, were tasked with writing the code for Amazon. At this time, not many people knew how to write code for websites, so they had to figure it out as they went along. While they were busy writing the code, Bezos was developing the business plan and going to American Booksellers Association meetings. This organization was created to help bookstores grow and succeed. Once the code was written, a business plan developed, and shipping contracts were in place. Amazon began to get ready to launch. At this point, a group of 15 angel investors invested the first $1 million of seed capital into Amazon. Amazon initially started out selling books. However, the plan for Bezos was always to expand what would be sold on Amazon. Amazon was different from other online retailers who were selling books, as they had their own warehouse, which at the time was Jeff Bezos' garage. This ensured that quality and customer service would be maintained over the packaging and shipping of orders. Within 2 months of launching, after a year of beta testing, Amazon had sold books to 50 states and to over 45 countries. By the end of August in 1995, Amazon's sales were up to $20,000 a week. In its early days, Amazon's 10 employees and Bezos were inefficient with their operations and logistics. For the first number of months, Amazon employees would pack orders on their hands and knees on Jeff Bezos' garage floor. It wasn't until one of the employees suggested getting tables that their productivity doubled. Once the orders were packed up, Bezos and his team would drive to the post office to drop off the individual orders. Another difficulty that Amazon faced was that the book wholesalers that Amazon would buy their books from had a minimum of 10 books per order. This proved to be tricky for Amazon as they often only needed 1 book at a time. Jeff found a loophole in this policy, which is now known as the Lycan loophole. He found that an order had to be placed for 10 books, but you didn't have to receive 10 books. Amazon found an obscure book on lichens that they knew none of their wholesalers carried, and would request copies of that book to meet the 10-book minimum order requirements. Let's fast forward to May of 1997, when Amazon debuted on the NASDAQ at a price of $18 per share. They were listed only 3 years after launching and had 256 employees, with 80,000 daily visits to its website. The goal was to raise $54 million in its initial public offering. It finished its first day of trading 31% over its IPO price. According to Bloomberg, after the initial public offering in 1997, Bezos' personal fortune was an estimated $12 billion. Sales at Amazon had increased from $511,000 in 1995 to $15.7 million when it was listed on the NASDAQ. Wall Street was skeptical of Amazon as it had a growing list of competitors. These competitors were attempting to overtake Amazon as the leading online retailer of books. By the end of 1997, Amazon had an expanding library of over 2.5 million titles, along with competitive pricing and delivery methods. If someone had invested $1,000 in Amazon in 1997, today that would be worth $1.58 million. Today in 2020, Wall Street expects Amazon to grow its earnings at an average annual pace of 94% over the next 5 years.